Welcome back to Steel and Vance. Many of us obviously recognize this tragic viral video that Amanda Todd uploaded prior to taking her own life. Her mother, Carol, has become a dear friend to both of us in terms of a friend in that we're all trying to collectively change what was and what continues to be incredibly broken in our society, that a young person can be targeted the way Amanda was.
We're talking sextortion and teens in this province. It's a big problem, and that's why the BC government came out recently and announced new legislation. They are essentially going to make it easier for people to be caught, for videos to be taken down, for there to be compensation. And you mentioned Carol Todd, the mother of Amanda. I mean, how devastating for her. And she has stood up as her daughter's biggest sort of ally to try to be her voice now. And she spoke out at the legislature when this legislation was introduced.
This has been a very emotional day that I didn't expect all the emotions to come rising up in me.
I can't imagine what it's like to be her, but this is comprehensive legislation, and this is what the Attorney General said about what they're hoping to accomplish.
The Intimate Images Protection Act will provide new ways to stop or prevent distribution and get your images taken offline. It will give people a more effective way to seek compensation for the harm they have suffered.
What a concept. Amanda Todd was harassed, resoundingly harassed by someone who had done it many times to other people, and still it took incredibly long. It took far too long. I think it's safe to say, and Carol Todd's message has always been, something good must come out of the tragedy that befell my family. And this is one step closer. It has taken too long yet again. We're kind of banging on the same issue here of like, okay, enough talking about it, let's go.
Well, we need more education, because in 2022, Surrey RCMP said there'd been a 40% increase in sextortion aimed at teens. And so we want to bring in a guy right now. Boys, indeed, we'll talk about that, who is an expert in this area and in social media. His name is Brandon Laur. He is the CEO of the White Hatter, which is an organization in Victoria. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me to talk about this really important legislation.
Can we talk about why teenage boys? It's shocking to me. Tell me how many cases you guys have dealt with, families, and how many of them are teenage boys that are the victims?
Yeah, so in our organization, having broadcasted to, I think, over 550,000 now students, we've had now about 149 students who've reached out to us dealing with sextortion instances, and the majority of which have been those who identify as teen boys. So this is a growing challenge that we've been dealing with, along with other safety organizations across Canada.
So as a safety organization, for a teenager who might be tuned in over their parent's shoulder, I would probably imagine, watching Steel and Vance, if they are suffering at the hands of somebody who has perhaps found themselves with an inappropriate photograph and wants to use that to blackmail them, how do they connect, contact, and benefit from reaching out to your organization?
Yeah, so we're not the only organization here in British Columbia. So in these situations, there is already a criminal law against distribution of an intimate image and extortion and blackmail. So there are criminal processes which our CMP, local law enforcements, take into their hands to attempt to minimize and stop this. But then there's safety organizations, much like us, who actively go out and teach and work with students and letting them know, if you have a challenge in the online world, whatever that may look like. I mean, most students reach out to us through Facebook, Instagram, any of the major social networks that you may find them on. We're not a 24/7 outreach organization that's government funded, but we do the best we can. But there are other organizations. There's cybertips.ca that's done amazing work on this. And as we're going to see coming soon, hopefully, with the province of British Columbia, a provincial program where students can submit, and adults as well, submit challenges in regards to distribution or threats of intimate images, which we're really looking forward to seeing that go through.
No Brandon, we were talking about the fact that teenage boys are most often the target, and that is because the people who are targeting them, I think they're called cappers, are looking for different things from boys and girls. Can you break that down for us?
Yeah, totally. So, in our experience working with teens, when it comes to young boys, what we seem to find, and research has shown this as well, is that from a sexual experiences, they're more willing, in terms of what we see in the research, to express themselves and expose themselves a little more than compared to teen girls, as we've seen reported in research. And then what cappers, these extorters, are looking for with teen boys, we've seen more instances of potential willingness to potentially pay that ransom, that blackmail, whatever that might be, where teen girls have been shown to less likely engage in that behavior. Not to say it doesn't happen. We've had many instances that we've helped teen girls walk through how to handle and deal with that situation. It's just, when it comes to teen boys, there's sometimes different social stigmas and pressures, depending how one may identify.
Okay, so as the mother of a 15-year-old boy, I am invested in what you have to say here. When you're educating young people, because they tune out mom and dad, they don't necessarily want to run to the adult. They want to be like, I don't want anybody getting involved in my business, in my life. I need to find my way out of this. And you're coming in as a safe space, a safe person, an educator. What are the top couple of must-knows that you deliver to these teens?
Yeah, when it comes to older teens, number one, this is not a rare instance. There are many teens across Canada and North America and the world that are dealing with these challenges. And although you may have been tricked into trusting someone and they're now turning against you, saying, hey, if you don't give me this amount of money, I'm going to post these images. You're not the only one. And there's a whole network of supports out there, not just in your family, but in the schools, in the community, through local police agencies who want to help you get through this, succeed, and make these extorters, these cappers, stop what they're doing. So reaching out, but our biggest recommendation is if you find yourself in any online challenge, screenshot and record the evidence, because they make it so much easier to get the help you deserve. If I just say to you, oh yeah, this bad thing happened to me, but if I can actually show you what happened, that's just a great way of convincing people and showing people this is what's going on, here's the proof, and it makes it much easier.
And you mentioned there are supports for victims. Sadly, there are also supports for the bad guys too. Tell us what e-whoring packs are.
Yes. So in the dark parts of the internet where hackers and scammers and other bad people tend to learn from each other, it's not as if you can go to college or university to learn how to be a bad hacker per se and do this type of stuff. They have to learn from each other. So much like how average consumers on the internet might go to an online forum to learn things from one another, there are online forums for these extorters and hackers where they have built packages, and some of them actually sell it for money, going, I have built a package that can show up-and-coming scammer and hacker, a capper, on here are some messages, here's the template, much like a call center where, a person has a script that they read you when they call you trying to sell you something. Well, a lot of these online criminals are doing the same thing. They have pre-made, tested scripts that makes their attempts much more effective because it's been tried and tested. And we've been seeing those growing on the internet.
What the hell is wrong with people?
It's sickening. Listen, we could carry this conversation on for a long time too. We're going to get you back on. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us with your insights.
Glad to be here and share this information with all of you.
That's Brandon Laur. He's the CEO of the White Hatter. This is a group that works with teens who have been sextorted, and this is out of Victoria. So check them out. Great resource.
I'm right now mentally bookmarking
right?
the White Hatter on my computer. Oh my God. Parents, are you with me?
Right? Coming up next on Steel Advance, it is spring break. And if you're planning on a little vacation like this one, we have some tips on traveling with your pet coming up next.
Izzy's here.